much. Absolutely. Yes, thank you. I'm
Yeah,
so
of
glad you're here.
course.
This is freaking awesome.
Thank
We are at SHOT Show 2026. I'm here with the lovely Jade Struck. I met Jade, speaking of SHOT Show,
you.
2 years ago, and I felt so bad. I went up to a booth you were at. I won't say the name. I don't know if you're still associated with them, and I
Who
don't
is it?
like Amen 2 Mags.
Oh yeah, I love men too.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to make sure. Sorry.
No, you're
You're
good.
still associated, and I didn't want to like
Of
say
course.
anything
No, I love
and
them.
mention. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Whoop, whoop,
Yeah,
got
you're
that out of the
good.
way.
Thank you.
I went there and they're like, "Oh, you want to meet Jade? 1 sec." And they like called you and practically dragged you into the booth.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my
I
gosh, I
remember.
feel so bad."
No.
You came up and you were like, "Hi, I'm Jade. Big hug. Here's my phone number. Anything you need." And I was like, "Whoa." And it set such a tone for me on what it feels like, what impact you can have on women to make them feel like there's room for them.
Yeah.
That was really big for me. And so thank you so much.
You're
This
welcome.
resonated with me.
Yeah.
It's really full circle. I'm actually really glad I haven't interviewed you before today because I've grown a lot as an interviewer,
Yeah.
just as a person in this industry. So I've gotten to where I'm like, you know what? I know that I wish I'd interviewed you earlier, but also at the same
It's
time,
okay.
very glad
We could have done it then and we could do it
Yeah,
again
right.
and we'll do it
Thank you so
again maybe
much.
one day. Yeah.
Right? Absolutely. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. Okay, so for those of you who do not know you, I know this is such a broad question.
Okay.
How would you like to introduce yourself today? Who are you?
Ooh.
I know, right? I like to ask it though because
Yeah.
it's always cool to see like what people choose to introduce first and put forward. And like
Yeah.
you can just say, I'm a God-loving woman and I love guts.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, but I want to give the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I would just say like I'm a woman that grew up loving firearms and grew up, riding horses. And I grew up in California, but I live in Texas now. And just fell in love with the culture that comes with those of us that enjoy to shoot and also use them to protect ourselves.
Yes.
Somebody that's passionate about teaching women and also resources as well for women on how to carry and kind of get started on their journey. I've been really blessed to work with so many new shooters that never held a gun before. So I went back. So I started my training company when I lived in South Carolina and then was like, I'm going to take this show on the road. And so I went to Dallas and I went to California and I had so many people in California. This is like post COVID. So many new firearm owners.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them that came to my class, I teach a class that you don't even have to own a gun to come to. I teach them all about firearm safety, how to handle pistols, and kind of how to navigate where do you want to take this journey. And then also hopefully inspire them to take part of a journey that's going to take a while. It's a lifelong thing.
Right.
And I've seen specifically a woman, her name is
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, I think.
It's Jackson.
No.
Okay.
You wouldn't know her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's from California.
Oh, gotcha.
But
Okay.
she just had never shot a firearm before, but has 3
Cool.
kids.
Student.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
Yeah, no,
So you were
student.
talking
Yeah,
about
no,
Jackie
you're
Jackson.
good.
She's written some great articles in the industry. So
Oh, really?
Jackson.
Cool.
Yeah,
No, I'd
sorry.
like to meet her. No, don't be. But I taught her like how to hold a firearm, and now she has her CCW and she carries every day, and she lives in California, and she like wasn't gonna let the length of that journey deter her, and so
Yes.
it's been a really beautiful thing to see. And
Yes.
so yeah, I think I'm just somebody that loves our community and loves using firearms in my daily life, and also for sport and for hunting, and just love everything about it. So
I love that.
yeah, thank you.
I love that. So I have this giant whiteboard in my office, and anytime I'm like, I mentioned this in the last episode, but this is a different angle. The whiteboard alone.
Okay.
It's a big whiteboard. Okay, I'm
Okay.
pretty proud of it. I kind of wrote this map out of like who am I, down to the individual level, all the way to like my following, albeit small but large. To someone who's getting into social media and doesn't really care to have a following. I kind of wanted to make sure my impact was matching my mission. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think what's really cool is I was able to write that I'm helping people as a firearms instructor on the individual level, all the way to influencing on a large level. And I see that with you a lot. It would be really easy for you to, and when I say easy, I mean, as far as like ROI goes, right? If we look at the industry and its prime directive with marketing, I just went a little cross-eyed saying that, it's easy to sit back and just be like, well, marketing brings me the most, right? So I'm just going to do that. But you're able to impact people on an individual basis. Someone like this Kathy person who maybe didn't have the resources before to get into it, didn't feel comfortable with an instructor to ask the right questions. I think that's really lovely about you. And I actually did not know that about you. So I'm really glad we're here today to talk about that. As far as instruction goes, I know this is kind of another broad question I'm going to hit you with. Do you have any goals for that in 2026 as far as wanting to build out more curriculum, class size?
That's a great question.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do, you know? Yeah.
If you don't mind.
No, not at all. I took a little break from teaching because taking that whole show on the road is a lot of work.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And I was doing, I mean, I would be in a city for a week and I would be doing 4 privates a day for 3 days and then group classes just 3 days straight. And so it was just such a grind.
Yeah.
And the economy kind of took a hit.
Yes.
And so I was like, look, let me take a pause from this. I still did privates here and there. People, if they reached out to me privately and were like, hey, this is my goal, would set things up.
Right.
But yeah, no, I this year want to just start putting out more classes, making them more available, working more within the community with some of these women's groups that they gather together. I just found one close to me. I kind of moved out into the sticks.
Okay.
But I went to this little gun shop that's about like 45 minutes away from me in town. And they've got a girls group that meets, I think, every Thursday. And so just want to, put out more classes and make information more available to people. I'm also going to be doing some online, like one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Kind of like the fitness stuff, you know, where I've had a fitness coach for like 2 seconds. It was like 3 months, but it was a lot. She was asking a lot. And so, but also too, like as an instructor, that's what I want. I want to ask a lot out of the people that actually want to see payoff in all of their training.
Yes.
And if it's not for them, then don't take it. You know, I think that there's something to be said about, I have this goal, but I'm not willing to dedicate this much to it. This is the reality of, and the honesty of, this is as much as I'm willing to give to it to hit this certain point, and really being able to own that and not feel ashamed about it. Cause I think sometimes as students we'll overcommit to something.
Yes.
You know, like I just got started in mounted shooting. I knew I was going to do this thing. So I bought my horse, I bought my guns, which they're special revolvers. I have like pretty limited experience with revolvers.
Yeah.
Got my holsters, got all my stuff. I'm doing the training and I'm doing the dry fire every day. I've never dry fired so much in my life. But you look at this goal that I have, and I'm so committed to it. And that's what I want out of my students. Is like, if you have, let's find what your goal is, and like, let's see your level of commitment to it. Yeah. And then let's go. What I love about my coaches and my community that I have within mounted shooting is it was not everybody is welcome, but not everybody's going to stay, you know? And so when I got in there, the owner of the ranch goes, not you again. I never met this man before in my life.
Oh my God.
I said, it is. Like, it's me, right? Yeah. I don't know what that means. I, like a duck, went off right off my back because I don't know what he was talking about. Yeah. And he came back and apologized to me about that. He's the nicest man you've ever met.
Okay.
His name's Ronnie.
Good to hear that.
And he was like, you know, I'm sorry for saying that. I've just met so many girls that come in here that have a social media, that want to do the mounted shooting thing. They just want a video. They're not committed to it. And the reason why I started mounted shooting was I looked at my life and I said, I'm doing all of this work, right? I got the deals. I got the social media. I got all this stuff. I'm looking at what I've got. But nothing really was like for my spirit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, what would be? You know, and I was like, well, I want to get back to owning a horse. Like, I grew up with horses, but none of them were mine. Yeah, I grew up on a ranch out in California.
Oh, my goodness.
Met some guy at the bar last night. I was getting takeout food. I was drinking a Diet Coke. Those guys like, you know, where do you live? And I say, I live in Dallas. And he's like, where are you from? I said, I'm from California. He's like, oh, you went full Texan. I'm like, hang on a second. I grew up on a ranch in California.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, California's all blue. I said, no, it's not. Okay, first of all. And you know what? The cowboys that I grew up with would be pissed to hear that. You know what I mean? Because they're fighting for their life out there.
Yeah.
With the cattleman business and all this stuff.
Absolutely.
So anyway.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I love that. Yeah.
But Ronnie was like, you know, Jade, so many girls come in here. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I get that. Because you'll see from where we sit too, social media wise, so many women have started integrating firearms into what they're doing. They're throwing it in their purse and you're like, oh my God.
Yes.
But
we're fighting. Yes.
I think we were talking about maturity earlier. You kind of realize, like, and I had a conversation with my best friend about this. I was like, at the end of the day, it all comes down to who's going to outwork me. And as long as I'm outworking myself, I'm not too worried about what other people are doing. I just need to outwork myself.
Absolutely.
So same thing with mounted shooting. And I'm going full stop.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to stop me. So, you know, commitment.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many directions I want to go from there. But gosh, man. First of all, I think it's really lovely that you have gone back to your roots. Like you've taken what you're currently doing, you're going back to your roots. You grew up on a ranch. What an incredible and very unique
Such a
upbringing.
blessing.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
my
you don't
goodness.
get to
Yeah.
choose these things.
Right.
Your parents choose it for you,
Right.
with the lives that they've created for themselves. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my dad and my mom, really. But specifically, my dad was the one that owned the horses.
Yes.
They've split, but um, to really show me, like, you work hard, Jade. You get these things that you want. You tend to the things that you have, which is biblical. You tend to the things that God's given you.
Yes.
And then you just feel blessed and you're grateful for it and you just keep freaking rocking. But it was not
Absolutely.
because of me,
Sure.
which I'm grateful
Yes.
for. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's so beautiful.
But now, we get to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And mounted shooting is something, first of all, I didn't know that's what it was called. I thought it was something like a barrel. I'm very
There's barrel racing.
There's barrel racing.
There's a lot of horseman sports.
Okay, because there's also mounted shooting and you move around barrels, right?
There's barrels involved in it.
Okay, so maybe I confused that a bit. But
Yeah, you're good.
okay, that's good to know. So,
My goal is to show people this sport.
yeah,
Yeah,
like increased exposure.
Yeah.
Which is what's happening right now because I didn't even know it was called that.
Right. Yeah. And everyone knows me for 3-gun and USPSA. And they're like, when are you going to go back? And I'm like, I'm not going back.
Why?
I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm doing something different.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I want to hear more about this mounted shooting. So, would you say it's kind of like 3-gun in the sense that the materials are like, it's more like barrier to entry materials wise, would be difficult, or can you like rent
Yeah.
a horse? This is probably the most dumb. I'm
So
gonna look
here's
for
the thing. I know. I said, no, girl, don't worry.
Okay.
When I got started in it, I was like, I know how to ride horses. I grew up hunting in the Colorado Rockies, like on horseback, friggin' riding through massive storms, rifles,
Yeah.
But I grew up trail riding and I grew up barrel racing too when I was a kid. But I'm like, I know how to ride a horse. I know how to shoot a gun. How hard could it be?
Right.
And that was the first mistake, my first mistake, because I was like, there's so much to this because I never had a formal education on riding.
I see.
And you can get on a horse, right? Like people can get on a horse and then they can ride a horse. And it's a very stark contrast. And also for me right now too, because it kind of to answer your question, like I have my shooting horse, but she still has things that we need to work on. So I'm also sharing a horse with my buddy who would not let anybody else ride his horse except for me. So praise God. I'm very grateful for that. His name's Yogi. He's a really beautiful horse.
Yes. If it's the one you've been posting with, then
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I have the black and white paint, but Yogi is the buckskin. Looks like Spirit. And he's a beautiful boy. And he takes care of me. Like I go out there and all I have to do is shoot, but you still have to know how to ride. I mean, I didn't even know how to lope, which is a run, right? On a horse.
Okay.
And so I'm coming out of the saddle. I'm almost falling out. I've almost fallen off a horse so much in the last 6 months, more than I ever have in my life. I've got thrown, so many times.
Really? Oh my gosh. What? Okay.
But there's a lot happening, you know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's not just you. You have it's like a dance, I'm sure, where your partner you're so dependent on them learning their moves and being comfortable. And you can't imagine.
I went to go do my first shoot. And when we do like competition shooting, it's just you and your gun. Your gun is your partner, and so when your rifle goes down, you're like I don't know if you name your firearms, but I do, right? So I have Bruce, my pistol. I've got Mouse, my rifle. So I'd be screaming at Mouse. I'd be like, well, what are you doing? Yeah. Hey, you gotta start naming it.
Yes.
Because you develop a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I was thinking about this earlier in the year, was like, I don't name a firearm until I've developed a relationship with it. And so you kind of develop who you are through this firearm and it becomes another faction of you, but there's different versions of you within your firearm use. Like my mounted shooting is different than my normal shooting.
Yeah.
But my normal shooting is getting better because my mounted shooting, which I'm grateful for.
Yes.
Anyways, but when I went to go do my first shoot off the horseback, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Which, what a beautiful place to be. Like, where you're just like, And I said to Ronnie, I said, Ronnie, I'm scared. And he's a funny guy. But he pulls out this little fake violin and he goes, do you want me to cry about, or you want to cry about it, Jade? If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And right when he said that, every time I shoot and I get nervous to say if it's easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And I'm freaking tough, right? And I'm brave. You know what I mean? And I can do this. And honestly, I just did my first competition.
Oh,
I won it. Praise God. I got a check, girl, $49. Let's go. Right?
I love that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. But I was in my second round and I almost fell out of saddle.
Okay.
And I'm like laughing my ass off because it's like, it's funny because you have this paradigm, there's this expectation of, okay, I shoot for Henry Rifles. Henry Rifles is huge in mounted shooting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Okay.
So I get into mounted shooting and I'm a Henry shooter. And so everybody's like, oh, this chick shoots for Henry, right? But she's coming into mounted shooting and we don't even know what she's about. But I love that pressure.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I'll show you. And I might fall out of the saddle.
Yeah.
But you know what? I still get back on.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. But so there's a lot, but I'm out there and I'm nervous. But then I look down and I'm sitting on my horse, and I realize I'm not alone and we're in this together.
Yes.
And then you go back and you look at all, centuries of men using horses in battle. And you think about the movie War Horse, which is such a beautiful movie.
It is. Yeah.
Truly. But you develop this relationship. And so it's what it's been is a deepening of my love for sports, like with it, because I fell out of love with firearm competition, 3-gun, USPSA, because it is so much work. As 3-gun is a massive undertaking.
Oh my gosh.
So if you don't love it, what are you doing here?
Right.
Because it'll take everything that you got. And for me, I was just radically honest about, I don't got it. I don't want to, And so mounted shooting has been a blessing for me. But so to answer your question, it's a big buy-in, a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
And could anyone do it? They could, but the amount of time that it takes, and I got asked the question of like, how long do you think you'll do this for? And I'm like, I'm so in love with this, I don't even want to think about an end of it. I'm just getting started. I had one competition. I'm in my rookie year. Like, I don't even want to think about when I'm gonna be done with this because I plan on it being a part of my future for as long as I have one. So I love that.
This episode of She Shield is brought to you by Right to Bear. You've probably heard me say that self-defense is more than simply carrying a firearm. It's awareness, avoidance, and preparation for anything that is to come your way. And that's why I'm partnering with Right to Bear. They stand by defenders like you and me. You'll receive benefits like expert witness support, psychological care, gun replacement, and even protection for other lawful self-defense tools like pepper spray, knives, and even your hands and feet if you have to use them in a struggle. What sets Right to Bear apart is that they are dedicated to education and immediate legal response. In case you do ever have to protect yourself, you have access to a 24/7 attorney-answered emergency hotline so that you are never alone. What I love most, though, has to be the personal connection that Right to Bear will have with you as a member. For example, Frank, the president of Right to Bear, will give you a personal phone call when he hears about a claim being filed. That level of care in the industry is extremely rare. If you carry, train, and believe in thinking ahead to protect yourself and your family, consider getting a membership with Right to Bear. If you use my code FIT4FIA10, you will get 10% off your membership, and the link to access this and to learn more is located in the show notes of this episode, which are the notes below the title. Protecting yourself and your family should not leave you defenseless afterwards. Stay safe and stay vigilant with Right to Bear. Yes, this is another moment I feel like I'm in church and the pastor's talking straight to me. It is so interesting to feel this pressure in the industry to do competition shooting and to be a certain class and to invest your life's earnings into that and to achieve a certain either status or respect, but it may not be something that you love. And I'm really relating to this because it's easy to get swept up into all that and step away what makes you natively you. And I love that you are someone with the audience you have to be able to represent this importance of sticking to what makes you feel most natively you. I mean, you're having this full circle moment in your life where you're going back to getting back on a horse, incorporating what you've learned with shooting, even taking on revolver shooting, which you reminded me, I went with Lena to film with her dad in Louisiana, Jerry Mitchellek, and I did not understand who this man was very well before I went there. And then I started Googling more, and then I was like, oh my God, this is, yes. And we're out on the line, and he brought out these really cool revolvers, and he looked at me, I'm holding a camera, and he goes, you want to shoot? And I never shot a revolver. And I was like, I refuse to F up in front of, I panicked, and I was like, I can't. I was like, oh no, I need to do my job, sir. Thanks so much. And then later I was like, I don't know how to shoot a revolver. She's like, she laughed so hard. She's like, I'll show you. Don't worry about it. They ended up doing a whole video series on how to hold a revolver properly, but It is actually a whole discipline. And then like
It's
reloading a revolver,
Mhm.
yes, when you said that, you were like, I don't have much experience with revolvers. I was like, yeah, I know. It's a whole different thing. And what has it been like to learn that platform in addition to learning how to like communicate with this, this beast of
right.
horse? Yeah.
You got to separate them. I
Okay.
realize that there's a lot happening at once, right? So why I'm really writing yogi right now is because I don't have the mental capacity to think about this
Yeah.
and also calming this down. My horse, I love her. When I bought her, I knew we get along.
Ooh.
She's a beautiful, beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Big, strong. It's so crazy because and I don't want to go too far on this track, but
Sure.
I saw her the first day I went to the ranch. She said, "Come out to God's so good."
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring
God
back a
is
little
good.
bit. So
Do it.
I go, I
Please.
want to get into mountain shooting. I call a ranch. I'm like, I don't own a horse, but I need a place to put it, and I want to get into mountain shooting. They're like, we don't do that here. And I was like, okay, well, who's doing it? She's like, well, there's this ranch out here called Western Star, and they're doing it. So I call the owner.
Mhm.
Her name is Stacy. This is Ronnie's wife, and she's a wonderful woman. And we get on the phone. I'm like, listen, this is what I want to do, right? No knowledge about it at all. And I pray about everything, but I prayed about this specifically before we went into the conversation because if it's not from God, I don't want it. But I get on the phone with her, like you, with you talking about business at the end. We start talking. I share my testimony. We start talking about the Lord, right?
I love
She
it.
brings up dry fire. I'm like, girl, we're in the same building, right?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
might not be on the same deal, but we're on the same building.
Yes, that's awesome.
And so she says, come out to the ranch.
Mhm.
And I go out there and I see this big, beautiful, tall, black and white paint horse. I said, God, one day I want to own something like that, right? Just, you know, yapping with the Lord. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't even really saying, God, I wasn't demanding anything. Well, then 3 months later, I ended up buying that horse because they didn't get along. And that's Big Mama. And that's who I own now. So, but I knew Big Mama had some issues. So you get on Yogi, and I know that Yogi's going to take me where I need to go. And all I need to do is focus on this. So you kind of have to separate what's happening.
Right.
And really, when you're riding, you're all legs. You're doing a little bit of this, right? You're doing a little steering, but you're mostly all legs.
Interesting.
And you're also not looking at the horse. You're looking at where you're going.
Right.
And you're also thinking about lines, which I think this is really beautiful for the kind of shooting that we do because when we go to shoot a stage, we're thinking about lines, but we might deviate from the line because we're here, right? And so our periphery, right? But when you're on a horse, you're much higher up.
Yeah.
And they're not your legs, but they're an extension of your legs.
Yeah.
So, in Avatar when they connect the tails?
Yes,
That's
it's
what
like
we're kind of doing. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're kind of rolling on this roller coaster, right? And you're trying to shoot this thing.
Yeah.
We don't reload in the competition. We have 2 guns, so we just swap out the guns.
Oh. I did not know that.
Yeah, but
Okay,
learning
okay.
revolvers, I think it's been really humbling for me because I used to talk shit about revolvers.
It's easy to do.
It is, especially when you come from competition.
Yes.
Everything there's different kinds of competitions. So, and honestly, like, shame on me because I was speaking out of pocket about something that I really didn't know. And there's a whole culture of incredible people within the SAS community, within the mounted shooting. I mean, the best people. And also, too, within USPSA. I used to talk a lot of smack about you go to these major competitions and it's all, the guys that are all about their gear and they've got an $8,000 pistol, blah, blah, but they're like 300 pounds overweight. And you're like, you're a piece of shit. But really, you go to a local shoot and you meet incredible people.
Yes.
And you realize like you're not that important. There's a lot of people in the world and find your people. You know what I mean? And it's
Absolutely.
if there's something wrong with everyone, there might be something wrong with you. And so I had to check my ego.
Sure.
But when it came to learning the revolver stuff, I just didn't really have the place in my life at that point.
Right.
But then I did. And the more I started to get to know them, and my gunsmith is a wonderful man. His name's JL. He's like 80 years old. He works on my shit because I tried to work on my revolvers and ended up ruining them and had to bring them into him to fix them. But it's been really beautiful because you see how important they've been in history.
Yeah.
And why they've been so effective.
Yeah.
And also that they just serve a purpose. And it's the same thing with lever actions too. I fell in love with lever actions years ago, shooting Henrys. And a lot of people are like, there's no place for this. For me, I'm like, well, then let's make a place, because they were saying, oh, you can't run a lever action fast. I want to run a lever action fast.
Yeah.
You don't want to, that's fine. Have you seen the SAS guys? They are running lever actions way faster than you can run your semi-auto Glock. So, it's been fun for me because I'm also touching back to our history.
Yeah.
And to just like learning to love it, and learning to love the guys that use them. And just having a newfound love for them to the point that I even was like, maybe I'll start carrying a revolver when I carry sometimes, because
Yeah.
who doesn't want to carry a little cute revolver?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
one good
Yes.
shot, like everybody's talking about, oh, well, you need 17 rounds in your mag for your capacity. And I'm like, not if you have like 3 or 4 really great play shots,
Yeah.
in the event of an
Yes.
emergency, God willing, it ever happens.
Yeah.
But, and so I think that there's definitely a place for them, and I've enjoyed getting
Yes.
to know them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even in the like the weapons-based combatives world, the 0 to 5 foot range, there's a lot of application, especially for like short nose revolvers. I feel like
Yep.
that's a name word, right?
Super snappy, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Their propensity to fail is lower. And so like some of that has been used to have a gun like under your jacket or in your hoodie or something where
Right.
you need to make a close quarter shot in order to get out of a situation, like undercover cops, things like that. They have an application that it's so niche that I feel like it's easy to squander that
Yes.
in light of the higher capacity semi-automatics, sexier guns out on the market.
Yeah.
So I love that you're bringing them back with this new perspective. And you've said so many things that I want to get like tattooed. Like, oh, it's not a place. Let me make a place for it.
Yeah.
And also, gosh, so many things. I think it's really cool that, lever action is really fun. Like
It is fun.
you get to feel
Very
like the whole
hands-on.
yes, you get to feel the whole function of the firearm. And I think if anything, it's something that could encourage someone to want to learn more about firearms.
Yes.
It's like you're really in control of like this
Everything.
yeah. And why wouldn't you start there and then maybe
Right.
maybe become curious about the Glock 17,
Right.
sitting at the gun counter. So like
Yeah.
I love that.
I think we have a tendency to rush everything. It always has to be about speed. It always has to be about this really steep learning curve. And I think this last year, what I've done was really pull the reins back and say, why don't we just take our time?
Yeah.
Why don't we, like with lever actions, you're taking your time. If somebody wants to learn how to shoot, put them on a 22 lever action.
Yes.
They're fully in control of everything. It's a really light pit ground.
I love that.
Go clink, and then start graduating. I have dogs, right? I just got 2 new dogs. I'm entering the new year with 3 freaking dogs.
Oh my goodness.
2 labs, bird dogs. Still haven't got bird hunting yet.
Oh my gosh. Their personalities are so
They're really
That's so
sweet.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then I got the shepherd, but they're all gunshot exposed, right? So, but how do we do that? We increment them up, and we start with suppressors, and then
Okay.
we start low cal, and then we start going up to the point that they're just indifferent to it.
Yeah.
And so for us, like, why are we rushing this process? Like, I don't feel like I've rushed mounted shooting. Of course, when it came to do the first competition, I was like, am I ready for this? And I had to have a conversation with myself, like, yes, you are. You spent 8 months training and dry firing and putting in as much time as you can,
Yeah.
as much time as I was willing, which was as much as I could, and just go out there and rock it. But I think, like even with you and the revolvers, like what better time for you to try something new than it'd be with, I came up with a name for the Mikliks, revolver royalty, right? Because they are.
They are. Ooh, I love that.
Right?
Ooh, I just got
But what
chills.
better place
I
to
have
start
that.
than
That's
with
so
them?
awesome. Yes,
Because
absolutely.
they'll train you.
I regret
It's okay.
every day not
Love
being
that.
like, would you show me?
Yeah.
To Jerry Mitchell. Like I had an awesome opportunity. There's a little bit of like, okay, I am here to film and like it's part of my responsibility to make sure we get the job done with the daylight. And so there was part of that. And I think I kind of use that as an excuse to be like, oh, not right now.
But that's
I'm,
okay. But we learn from this.
Yes.
Right?
I love
But it's like worth taking the reins back and sit. And like
Yes.
too, like there's been times where I've been at a clinic and I'm like, hey, like yesterday,
Mhm.
before we came here, I had to fly out at like 8:45. I went to the ranch and trained with Ronnie and Stacy. And I was freezing. It was freezing cold.
Yeah.
And and I'm on a different horse. I'm
okay.
whipping out all these.
Oh, I bet that's so cold with like the
Yeah.
blowing. Okay, yeah.
It was freezing.
Yeah.
But and cool because you're learning different horses and you're looking what you want. This is a D6 horse. So I'm a D1 shooter. If
Okay.
that puts that into perspective. This is a championship winning horse.
Okay.
And she just wants to go. And Ronnie's like, are you ready to go? And I'm like, I just want to walk. And he's like, well, I want you to walk. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I get this horse to walk?
Right.
Because I'm still learning.
Yes, yeah.
But then it's right then when I realized, I'm like, it's good to want to slow down. And if you feel like you want to slow down and be present in it. And so I think, with like revolvers and lever actions and just expanding your knowledge, have a baseline knowledge that is really well off, like with the guns that you're going to use regularly, but also learn how to shoot other things.
Yeah.
Take your time on the journey. Why are we rushing? I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Yes.
Take your time.
I love that so much. Gosh, I needed to hear this. I had that end of year panic 2025 where I was like, I need to know exactly what I'm doing. And gosh, I saw this post and I wish I remember the name of this calendar, but it explained that like the new year is not actually a time, it's not like spring happens in January. It's still winter. It's still a time
Still
for
winter.
restoration and
Mhm.
and rest, right? That's
Yes.
the same thing, but also
No, but
they're a
yes,
little
I
bit
know what
different.
you're
But
meaning.
yes, yeah, to
Yes.
regrow and to
Mhm.
I kind of took advantage of that and was like, okay, cool. I don't have to hit the ground running in January, but I do want to think about at least what I want my year to look like in this
Kind of.
quiet time. Yeah,
Yes.
kind
Yeah.
even though we can't anticipate everything. And it's easy to be like, okay, I've got to do it all, but also I'm learning at a certain rate that I can only produce out of, like I almost can only move as fast as my future self. And
Right.
and I don't know if that makes any
And
sense,
then
but
too, I think when we're
yes.
really focused on what's happening, we forget to be present.
Yeah.
But this is where it's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and we talked about this too, like, where are you going and like, who do you want to be and all of these things. Like,
Yeah.
it's been a journey. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like,
Right.
after coming out of everything that I've came out of, and like, there's been times that I've kind of floundered. And what did I do?
Right.
When I kind of a few years back when I left, the old place and was
Yes.
starting on this new journey of really just being on my own.
Yes.
I didn't even I went back to the ranch I grew up on where we used to trail ride. They turned into the junkyard into a shooting range.
Oh,
So and that's where I learned how to shoot in the junkyard on a broke down table with tires stuck underneath of it to keep it level, shooting at milk jugs. And that was when I was 8. And then I go back when I'm 21, it's turned into a range. I've gone on this journey of becoming a shooter and doing this thing and the John Wick and all this crap to then starting from zero again where I started,
yeah.
but it's different. And you do that reset, and I go back home all the time so I can slow down and kind of look at and see like, okay, where did I start and where am I going? But still I'm always kind of going back home.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're
Yes.
still always kind of figuring out, but I didn't know where it was going to go, and we kind of got here.
Right.
But like, we have an idea, but really it kind of needs to always have a thorough line back to what did you start for?
Right.
Like, why are you even here?
Right.
And so
Yes.
it's a good time to reflect on it,
Ooh,
but
I love that so
slowing
much.
down,
Yeah.
especially in the winter. I'm really
Yes.
into it this year.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah, I love that. This is truly a lot of my including Lena, a lot of my friends are common theme is like we're taking a beat to think about like, okay, what are we actually doing here? There's so much noise, especially in this industry when you enter as a woman, for sure. We're um far and few between, especially when it comes to ones that kind of know what they want their tone to be, who they want their audience to be. It's very seldom that you'll find someone who has that established even. So among that like even larger crowd of women than we had 10 years ago, I wasn't here 10 years ago, but or so I've heard, even within that, there's only a select few who kind of feel like they know where they're planted and know what they're doing.
right.
And so I going kind of off of that, what would you say to a woman who is entering the industry and is kind of getting excited by all the lights, but is also wanting to stay true to who she is? Like, what would
Yeah.
you encourage her to do?
I'd ask her why she's doing it first.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's a place for everything, like if you want to I've been loving doing the concealed carry fashion.
Yeah.
On a show.
Yeah, I love it.
I love
Absolutely.
dancing. I love singing.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I make this something
Yeah.
that I want to do?
Yes,
Right. And that
absolutely.
isn't boring the hell out of me.
Yes.
Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'd ask, what does she want to do out of it? Why is she doing it? But then also I would say too, like, stay true. And also there's something to be said about there is pressure, right, for women to be able to actually shoot. Of course, you need, you want to have reputability. And so competition is a really great place for us to find that.
Yeah.
But I think I found over the last 3 years of not competing at all, maybe even 4, that it's not necessary. You can still prove your value. And specifically, if we're talking about content creation, about the way that you present, like you're seeing me hit 2 to the chest, 4 to the head, or whatever it is
Right.
I'm doing. Like you're seeing the payoff. But, respect the integrity of a skill set
Right.
and be driven to have a good skill set because we need it.
Right.
I think my biggest thing is like firearms are not, um, they're not toys. They're not props.
Yeah.
Right. They're meant to preserve and protect lives. So have a respect for them generally, and also honor that. But then too, find really what it is that makes you you. And like I showed up to SHOT Show, y'all look great, all black, everything. I love it. Right. I was getting ready this morning. I'm like, what do I wear?
Right.
I work on this. I live on and work on a ranch right now, and I'm in jeans and boots and tank tops every day.
Yeah.
Except for now that's cold, I'm wearing a jacket.
Right.
But, you know, and I come to the show and I'm like, you know, what do I want to do? And so many people would say, just stop trying to stand out.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, well, I want to wear a skirt.
Yeah.
And I want to look pretty. And you think about Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
And people would talk smack about Dolly Parton and say, people are making fun of you with the blonde wigs and the boobs and all this shit. But Dolly's like, I don't care, you know, because this is what makes me happy. And if you care enough about me to get to know me, then I'll care if you have an opinion about me that isn't right. But if you take the time to get to know me, I'm sure that you won't have a bad opinion, right? Because she cares about people.
Yeah.
And so for the girls that come in, it's like, stay true to yourself. Don't care too much about what people say, because everybody's going to have something to say. I mean, dudes talk shit about the way that I'm jumping on my vehicle and doing like drills, but I'm like in there like nobody's shooting Maggie. Well, I'm training for something for, you know, in the event of an emergency, and God willing it never happens, but like for something in particular.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are going to have something to say.
Yes.
But there's also going to be people that are rooting so much for you. And it usually starts with your family. You know what I mean? So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, stay true and do what you want to do and learn and don't be afraid to like try and go to places. Like one goal for me this year is to go to other people's courses. Yeah. Really dive into my skill set more and be in an environment that isn't the same all the time. So I think those are some good places to start.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh my gosh. I loved all of that. I wish I had heard that when getting into the industry. Gosh, man, so many good things from this episode. I can't wait to listen back and just absorb it again.
I didn't like.
What? No.
Okay.
This is perfect.
All right. Deer trail.
No. That is my favorite part about podcasting. Okay. The harder thing is when someone's too afraid to go off, so they like say really short answers and then pause and freeze, and like that's this has been so wonderful. I went from scripting everything out in episodes to now just like seeing what happens, and these are my favorite episodes. Like I leave feeling so refreshed, excited, feeling like I am truly giving people the resources that kind of started this podcast. It started as a way to spread resources. So I absolutely love this so much. Thank you. Yes, and it's been healing for me because I kind of joke with my family, but this is a total true statement, because I was like destined to be a doctor, right, in my family and everything. I've always felt like I've needed to do things at that caliber. And so to me, when competition shooting came up in question, I was like, this is how I can be a doctor in the gun industry. Yeah. A lot of like almost internalized pressure, but also like pressure that was created from observing like what is around. And so it's nice to go back to the roots and have this formula now that you've mentioned to think about your why. Yeah. And then to think about what steps contribute to that idea of success, that why. Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're doing great.
So wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm just kind of like,
and there's no one like you in the industry.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
Gun people in the industry, like this is cool. You know, there's an opportunity here.
Absolutely. And I hear a lot that one thing Lena says a lot is there's room for everyone. There is, sure. And I've heard that so many times that like it's easy to just, when you hear something so many times and you forget what it really means. I think the idea is this is really full circle, that if you're authentically you and you have your own why based on maybe, how your parents set you up for success, all the way to how some people maybe kind of did the opposite, right? Like pushed you onto an avenue you never thought you'd go onto. No matter what, like the concoction of you is something that's so unique. It could never be represented by another person. And I feel like your voice in particular represents that. I'm very thankful for that. Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
Pleasure, sister.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put all of your information in the description, the notes below the podcast title, so that everyone can go see this awesome content that you've discussed. And yeah, it's been really cool to see the direction you've gone in, and I'm so excited to see more. I'm excited to sit back down with you soon and to shoot with you someday. If you're down anytime, I would love that. Come on, if you ever want to do, hell yeah, if you ever want to do some combatives, shoot retention, do anything like that,
yeah, I'd love to.
Let me know. So
I'd love to.
Yes,
we got a girl gang together.
Yes, that sounds awesome. That sounds
awesome.
Thank you, Jade. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.